All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac here on 1010XL's podcast platform at 1010XL.com. Of course, on the 1010XL app as well. You'll find this show, find all the shows that are done right here out of the 1010XL podcast platform. My esteemed producer, Grammage, he always cuts it up, puts it out there, films it for me, and puts it out on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you watch, you listen to podcasts. That's what we do here at Catching Up with Tommy Mac and on 1010XL, and brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. Man, I know I put out stuff all the time on social media. I love the businesses that I represent. I love getting little notes on messengers. Hey, Tom, how can I be a part of the team? I love it because you know what? You deserve the exposure. You do it right, and I'm proud to have every single one of you on there. Of course, Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds, the Truck Accident Law Firm, J-Dog Junk Removal, Azar Sausage, Outback Marine, Graffiti, American Burger Bar, Carpet Man, Meat 55, and 1010XL. And we'll get more into that as we roll through this show. Let's welcome in. Take a deep breath, Grammage. How you doing, buddy? Good morning to you.
Oh, how are we?
All right, producer. What's happening?
Fantastic.
Doing all right? Good weekend?
Yeah.
Jags won. Big way to cap the weekend and the Thanksgiving holiday.
It was a good weekend. I've been going to sleep upset a lot of Saturday nights because of my Florida Gators. Yep. And my Jacksonville Jaguars, time and time again, have been saving me on
Bailed
Sundays.
Your ass out of that
That
depression.
is correct. Chris Lucero, Bevon style.
There you go. Get you out in a blink, baby.
They've been bailing me out. But yeah, great win. They had to win that game, and I felt like they played some of their best ball that they've played all year in that game.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Some was good. Some was really good, obviously.
The Texans are a good football team.
They are a good football team.
Some might say a very good football team. I would say
really good football team. I would say.
I would say the Jaguars at this point in time are a very good football team. I would say the Texans are a good football team.
Well,
so
they're
their
newer.
place,
they're newer, so you got to give that. We're second year in, so there's a little bit of more of experience and chemistry there than they have so far.
I mean, man, look at how much different things are in terms of standing and division because they won the game. I mean,
right.
That was by far the most important game of the year. They had to win that game.
Without question. And even if they say hypothetically they didn't win the game, and even though they get into the playoffs, there's that stain. It's a stain. It's a bad taste in your mouth. You got swept by a divisional opponent, and of course that didn't happen. A big game for both teams. And look, I think the Texans are a good football team. They've got themselves a hell of a QB, which is great. That doesn't mean I want him over my guy. It's funny how fans get so upset when you praise somebody else. No, I don't want C.J. Stroud over Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is, I'll tell you what, I'm going to talk about him in a little bit, but he is on the verge of something, and we'll get into that. He's got to clean a couple things up, but man, he threw some dimes on Sunday, and we'll talk about all that. But listen, man, that was a big, big game for our Jags. I think either team could have won that one, Grammage. I think either team could have found a way to figure that out. We should have put them away. That's one thing I'm not happy about. We should have put them away. We still lagged a little bit. There was a lag in our offense, just a little bit too much for me. Our defense, great at shutting down the run. Stroud was a problem. Other than that, they were not a problem whatsoever. Third down wasn't very good. They were 6 of 13. We were 7 of 13. How about that for our offense? 7 of 13 on third down. We didn't do a good job on their third down. Look, they were right there. But we found a way to figure it out. Josh Allen was an absolute beast. What a menace. Trayvon Walker, same deal. Roy Robertson-Harris getting into the show and getting some things done. You saw Fadakasi making plays. Of course, Aluakin, Devin Lloyd making plays. It was a really good outing overall by our defense, holding them to 21. But listen, Josh Allen, is he coming into his own, man? 12 sacks on the year, and they're legit sacks. They're legit pressures, legit hits on the QB. And you got to love seeing that. He's really developed. Listen, he wasn't born that way. You know what I mean? I mean, he was good his rookie year. He was okay the last 3 years or 2.5 years, and then last year, and then this year, part of last year. This year, he's absolutely dynamite. He's worked on his game. He's worked on his craft. His motor is relentless. It's absolutely he is inspiring to watch, And I don't listen. I think it's more, and I'm sure the money's, is part of it. But to me, it seems more internal for him to prove that, no, I am one of the better ones out there. I can improve my game. And I tell you what, he's worked on his game big time, and it's showing, Grammage. He has become quite the menace in the opposing backfield.
Yeah, I mean, remember after the Falcons game, he had a hell of a game against the Falcons, and he had the game-winning strip sack.
That's right.
I mean, after the game, he was like emotional. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's way more than about the money for him.
Yeah, I believe that.
That guy loves being here. He's been outspoken about how much he loves being in Jacksonville since he's been drafted. He's been, and that guy, he's seen some dark times like the rest of us have since he's been here, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for him to stick through, and for him to take all the naysaying, including myself, I naysayed him a lot the last couple of years. I've said, man, you can't be having these disappearing acts for
and he did
4 or 5 games, and he did it
this year though.
For him to respond the way he has this season,
that means something.
And what was so encouraging for him, because he was obviously a huge part of it, and then the other 10 guys on defense as well.
Yep.
Man, last year, how many times did we see the Jaguars be in a similar situation in a game and let the opposing offense go right down the field and score with basically no time left to win the game? And for them to stand tall, even after they gave up some tough
Stroud
first downs.
Went right down on him, though, for that third one. It was, I should say right down, but he led them to another score.
But when it was time to make a play, they made plays.
Yeah.
They got a sack.
Yep.
And by the way, those 2 yards on the sack meant a lot.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Well, and look, they got on him right away. Mike Caldwell called a great game. One of Josh's sacks was due to Herndon running a great blitz on the inside. So, hey, hats off to them all. I think they played a great game, or a very good game, I'll say, but got to clean a few things up. Hello, Jamie. Good morning to you, my old friend from Chicago. Great to have you on the show, and I'm sure you Bear fans are all excited winning 12-10. Josh Dobbs, he's got a cannon, but he needs a little honing in. Nonetheless, it was and Fields, he's a tough dude. Look, I was talking to my brother, who's a big Bears fan. I was like, all right, you got number 1 pick in the draft. You going QB? He says, no. Go elsewhere. You gotta develop that young man. There's the deal, though. Ryan Poles did not draft Justin Fields, the new GM. New GMs want their QB, and he may not feel that way. Let's not get into that. We don't know how that's going to go down. All right, we will go through the stats, interesting stats, with how it all played out. Again, 24-21, could have gone either way. Grammage, I watched the tape yesterday and wrote down some notes. I got a couple pages of notes. I'm not going to go through all of them, but look, I did want to get a couple things out of the way, at least off my chest, if I will, or if I may. The excuses. Look, fans are okay to make excuses. I'm okay with that, right? Or reasons we did. Maybe it's not excuse. Reasons. Miles Jack wasn't down. We've lived with that since 2017? You know what I mean? That's somewhat of a reason, excuse, if you will. That's why we didn't.
I'll live with it forever.
Right, but everybody will.
I got the T-shirt.
Yeah, everybody will. Right, or the fans will.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Media should never. I don't think media should ever say, "Oh, this isn't fair," or the rest were against us. Yada yada yada. So that's number 1. Number 2, you have to know the difference between hand fighting and tugging and holding an arm down when the ball's arriving and all that stuff. Right. No, nothing wrong with the hand fighting off the line of scrimmage. DB and wide receiver going at it. But when that ball arrives, there's no hand fighting. You can't hold the inside arm of Ingram's arm to catch the rock down the sideline. That was the first one by number 30, I believe. Right? That was the first one where they were going back and forth, getting down. Then the ball arrives and he can't get his left arm up to make a catch. They're going to throw that flag every single time. That's not hand fighting. That's impeding that arm from trying to make a catch. Tugging. Everybody tugs, Grammage. It's the oldest thing in the book, right? You're covering somebody, maybe they got a half a step or whatever, and you just reach out a little bit and you give a little tug. Sometimes it's the jersey. Sometimes it's the pant on the side. Whatever it may be, you don't want to get caught. If guys tug all the time and don't get called, but when the ref sees you tug, they're going to call the flag, no matter how subtle it may or may not be. We're not talking hand fighting. We're talking impeding. The one to Kirk on the near the end zone where they called it PI. I would call it holding. The ref who threw the flag was right there. He was standing next to the pylon on the sidelines, the side judge, I believe. And he sees the little tug on Kirk right as he makes his break. Subtle, I agree. Would I have called it? I don't know. I'm watching it. I see a tug. I feel like maybe the body moves back just a tiny bit. I throw the flag. However, in my opinion, the real argument is that was not going to be a catchable ball anyways. That was low and outside and wasn't he would have to make a diving catch to get that. Because, by the way, the impediment of his route, go watch it. It's barely anything. I mean, it's not like he, came back and couldn't, get into his route. It almost, you can almost not even see it. If I was a ref, I would have called off that penalty and said it was uncatchable ball. Nonetheless, that's why he threw the flag. And you got to understand that when you don't got to, you can make excuses. You do whatever you want when you're a fan. That's up to you. But those things are real things that happen in a game. And look, the tug is always going to, it's like the hold. Okay. It's the same thing. I may only hold you for a split second, but if I'm holding you, impeding you from making a play, what are they going to do if they see it? Ref standing right there. He sees the little hold. You may even tug for a second and let go, but he sees it. Does he throw the flag? He throws the flag. That's holding in his mind. So, you can say, well, they got to call it both ways. I agree with that. But you also have to, what are we talking about here? Okay, so we're allowing impediment of our route. Ingram, the one on the pick. What? I mean, that he impeded his route. How can you not call that one?
That was an
they must not have
egregious no
seen
call.
it or didn't see it at the right time or whatever. We see it on the replay. Of course we do. But the judge, wherever they are, what is it, the back judge? Is it the field judge who's in between the back? You know what I mean? Like, which guy's going to see that? You would think that maybe the sideline judge or maybe who's the guy behind, or the ref would see it, right? He's sitting right there.
Is it the back judge?
You think somebody's looking over there, but whatever, they don't call it, and that was a clear impediment of that route.
That was a 7-point no call.
Yeah,
by the way,
they went right down and scored.
Yeah, because that's a turnover on the Jag side of the 50 for the Texans going in when they make that interception. I mean, that was a huge no call in the game that really, really went against the Jags' favor. And then we've talked about this. There were definitely other calls that went the opposite way. Yeah. I thought
maybe they tried to make up for one on the one to Ingram down the sideline. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Grammage.
I felt like that was overall one of the most poorly officiated games I've seen in a while. I did not feel like it slanted super harshly towards either team, though. I just thought it was a poorly officiated game. And now sometimes, like, have teams been jobbed in the past by the refs? Yes. Yep. But watching that game, I mean, maybe I'm looking at it through teal glasses, but I didn't see how the Texans go on and win that game. Well, I mean, they could have, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't like the Texans just got totally screwed. That wasn't the case.
No, look, and you could take one of our touchdowns. That makes you feel better, but then you got to take one away of yours.
Yeah, 100%.
Because of the drive after the pick.
Correct.
So now it's 17-14. We still win.
Correct.
So. Again, I mean, there were interesting penalties. Let me go through them. By the way, I want to give heartfelt, hope he gets better quick, Cam Robinson. There's nothing worse. I felt really bad for him, especially when he showed his emotions, man. It's tough when your body gives up like that. Now, he's only got 3 to 6 weeks, I think I saw yesterday, hopefully. So I hope he heals. I hope he gets back in a real good starting condition and ready to go if needed. I'll tell you what, 2 things. Walker Little's a better left tackle than he is a left guard. And Ezra Cleveland's a pretty darn good left guard. That guy gets after it. He's physical. He's very athletic. And by the way, the screen call to Johnson where Ezra's out in front of him, what a great call at the right time. I mean, perfect pass, lob pass. perfect everything. Guys getting out, waiting, right? You see them both looking kind of, the linemen are waiting, and then they come out together. I thought it was absolutely beautiful, but I do like Ezra left guard, and I think Walker's a better left tackle than he is a left guard.
Well, it's almost like
he doesn't have to be as powerful coming off the line of scrimmage, taking on the defensive end as he is when you have to take on that big defensive tackle pretty much every play.
I mean, the guy has played tackle his whole life.
Yeah.
This is you are not in this camp, Tommy, so I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about kind of the general Jaguar football watcher.
Yeah.
It's been frustrating to me that, like, everybody's all on Walker Little's case for struggling at guard, but the guy has played tackle his entire life. Like, and even like he took some snaps at guard in training camp. That doesn't mean he's a guard.
No.
That doesn't make you a guard. And Leon Searcy talks about this all the time.
Yep.
He's like, we as media, as fans, what have you, just want to move offensive linemen around to play different positions. He's like, that's hard to do.
I'll just say this, and I like Walker Little. I've met him a few times. He's a really nice young guy. He's a good dude. He's great for our community, all that stuff. But he's not violent enough to play left guard.
No,
that's just not his game.
No,
I wish it was, because he's Baselli big, and if he was violent coming off the line of scrimmage, man, he'd be knocking it. But he's not that. And it's okay. It is what it is. He's a better left tackle. You don't always have to be that, although Baselli was, but you don't always have to be that when you're a left tackle, right? You got a little time to maneuver and use your athleticism, use your length and all that stuff.
And you got to be a little bit.
I
think Walker's a big dude, but, like, guards are stout and a lot of times shorter.
Yeah. 6'7".
He's really tall.
Guard.
Guards are
slow.
Yeah, so I mean, again, Leon Searcy always talked about this. He's like, you got to have the ass to play guard.
Yep.
And again, Walker Little has played tackle his entire life.
Yeah.
He's played left tackle specifically, except for some stints last year where he played right for the Jags. He's played left tackle most of his life. So we shouldn't be stunned that they move him to guard, and that's not his natural position, and he struggles a little bit.
Well, you just like people do. We shouldn't assume, because it makes an ass out of you and me. But in all seriousness, you assume he can play left guard because he's big, strong, and athletic. But it takes a different mentality. Look, some guys can't play middle. They don't like the stuff. They rather be able to roam free and make plays in space, and they're very good at it. Middle linebacker, I mean. They don't like They don't like all the traffic, all the mud, all the nasty grossness that's in the middle with centers and guards.
And isn't it easier to be out of position at middle linebacker as well? Than it is outside? You can still be. I know you can still be out of position.
You can be blocked out of position more. that could definitely happen. But no, I like the way they looked. I think they did a great job. Hey, Trevor was kept clean the whole game. 2 hits, recorded hits on Trevor Lawrence. That is a phenomenal job by our offensive lineman. Ridley was great at times. Ridley wasn't great at times. There are times I wonder if he knows what's going on the field. There were a few plays that it didn't look like he knew what the play call was or what he was supposed to do. One time, Kirk's running by him, and he's looking at him like, what do I do? What do I do? And Kirk's like almost like yelling, like telling him as he's going by him. And then he just kind of, it was a running play, so he just went and blocked. The Ingram pick, where they held him and pick, he just stood there. Like, I don't think he knew what to do. I know they didn't just tell him to stand there and turn around and look and let Ingram go by himself. You know what I mean? I think, now, he made some great plays, too. I love the deep cross. Perfect. I love the slant. To use it more of him in the slant. The slant route. That's what a true number one does, man. You go up 5 and you come over and you make the tough catch. Maybe you break it, maybe you don't. But I love the long crossover, because think about this. I'm running slant. I'm running deep crossover, and you don't know what the hell hit you because you're expecting slant. I will say this. Cal, you got to catch those bombs. They're right there. I don't care how much heat was on the ball. That was a dime from Trevor. Oh, God. And
you got to catch that.
Here's the crazy thing about this game, Grammage. Think about this for a minute. Sidebar. Trevor makes that or if Ridley makes that catch, everyone looking at not us, but everyone nationally is looking at Trevor differently, right? That one little play. Think about Buffalo and Philly, right? If Philly's kicker doesn't make that kick, 59 yards in the sickest conditions, there's no overtime. The Bills win, and everyone is praising Josh Allen of what a great day he had, because he did have a great day. Threw an untimely pick, but overall had a great day. And even at the end, think about this. I think it was Diggs. Either Diggs ran the wrong route or Josh threw it in the wrong spot, but he was open.
A podcast I was listening to this morning said
Josh took the high road and said, I threw it in the wrong spot, but
he said that based on the kind of the body language and stuff that they were seeing from the Bills sideline, it felt like it was more Gabe Davis. But your
Gabe.
quarterback.
I'm sorry, it was Gabe. I'm sorry. It was
Yeah.
Gabe Davis, that right. He had a nice game too, man. He had a nice catch for a touchdown. But think about that. If he does hit that, game over. Game over, right? That's a touchdown in overtime. It's over. You're thinking about him much differently. You're thinking about the Bills much differently. But because of a couple plays, by inches, right? That's what's so great about this game. And again, back to I was telling private or personal Facebook earlier. Everyone's all upset about what Richard Sherman says about Trevor Lawrence. Who cares? This whole thing about, and I know we all do it. Fans do it. Hall of Famer knows more about a guy that didn't make the Hall of Fame. Pro Bowler knows no more about the game than a guy that did. Could play the same amount of years, same amount of starts, same amount of film, and the guy that has the better resume to a lot of people knows the game more than somebody that didn't have that resume. Which is, look, sometimes sure, but just because they played the position better doesn't mean they know the game better than anybody else. We put these guys on these pedestals. Who cares what Richard Sherman has to say? And for the record, Trevor has not lit it up this year consistently. He's had really good moments. He's had good. This last game was really good. Almost probably his best game. A couple things he's got to clean up I'm going to get into. But he hasn't been this unbelievable whipping it all over the place. But they don't call him to do that. But my point is, who cares what Richard Sherman has to say about our team? I mean, so what? Hey, Rich, you are a great cornerback. Great cornerback. Great cornerback for the Legion of Doom. Other than that, I could give two you-know-what about what you have to say about our QB. I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't. Game manager, what are you talking about? Who cares? Well, that's right. He manages the efficiency of Doug Peterson's offense. That's what he does. And I've been saying this before, Graham. Sorry to cut you off. I've said it before. Look, the franchise quarterback is what? One that can take over, but two, runs the offense the way that coach wants it run, in a way that he can make it run the best and even improve it because of his great play. Does that make sense? Right? That's what a franchise quarterback is, that he can run my offense and run it efficiently, and he's so great that if things break down, he can take over and carry the offense all by himself. That's the franchise quarterback. You don't think we have that in Jacksonville? You're crazy. And he needs to show more, Trevor does. I'm going to get on him just a little bit. I love Trevor. I love everything about Trevor. But he threw a few passes Sunday, Grammage, that could have been picked and should have been picked. The one to Farrell in the end zone. You cannot throw an outside ball inside, ever. On time, not on time. You can't throw it. Those guys are right there. You got to throw it outside. He did that like 3 times.
I was going to say he was a second and a half late on that throw, too.
He was. I mean, you know what?
Farrell was wide open.
I know, man. And I'm yelling at the TV like, throw it! And then
I said the same thing.
He must not have been looking at him. He must not have been looking.
Well, I think I could kind of tell. I would need to see the play again to know for sure. I think what might have been happening is I think he was doing the Aaron Rodgers, where you fake the handoff and you hold the ball by your side for a second.
Yep.
To kind of fool everybody.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but he might have been. Yeah. Little play action, like really holding him.
Which is not a bad idea. It does work when Aaron Rodgers does it. But you had a wide open guy, so it's like...
You know what, though? Maybe Farrell wasn't the first read.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Maybe it was Ingram or whoever was coming inside, because he looked like he was looking over the middle, then looked at him, and by then it was a little late. And then he had pressure, and then he threw it on the inside. He's got to be really careful with that. Overall, I mean, listen, the kid threw dimes all over the place. I loved the way he played Sunday. He did. And he's going to continue to do that. I think he's going to continue. Think about this. Our quarterback, our offense still has yet to hit its full potential for a full game. Even last week, there was a lag. There were a couple calls I didn't like, and we'll get into them too. 3rd and 7. I wrote it down. 3rd and 7. Where is that? You go to it's towards the end of the game. It's 3rd and 7, and maybe 5 minutes to go.
You're talking about
throw the deep
ball to Zay.
Zay made a great effort. That ball, another ball that's got to be up a little higher. It was inside. He made a great play. I mean, gosh, he's such an incredible player. But why not get the first down? You get the first down there, Grammage. There is no going down the field to get it to 21 for Houston. You know what I'm saying? You're in control. You get that first down. Now they got to do the timeout. You know what I mean? Like, it changes things. I don't know if Trev audibles. I don't know what he does. But don't do that. Get the first down. I know everyone wants the glory. Let's put them away. But put them away with a drive that ends in points. That takes a lot of clock off the board. I was surprised by that. That I would like to see a little bit different. Let's talk before half. Okay.
God, I was so mad.
Okay. We all know what happens in those situations. If you make it, we love you. If you don't make it, we give you grief. Now, Captain Kirk is big play money. Gosh, I love that guy. He is a baller. He is a ball. He's a little guy. He's not a big guy. He can fly. He's quick. He makes great catches. He can jump. That play, that was a great throw and catch, great call to get it down to the 1. He almost had it. It was really close. I would have gone for it too, Grammage. I
would have too.
The rule book says, or quote unquote, when you're on the road, you take the points. That's been, maybe it's changed, but that's been the theory for decades, right? You're on the road, just take the points. Get the 3, live another day, right? However, I believe in momentum. And when you get that play down there, everyone's jacked up. Like, let's go score, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm ready. Come on. That was an unbelievable play, unbelievable effort. He almost made it. Let's go reward Captain Kirk with a touchdown by our offense.
And by the way, the reverse of that, the defense is reeling.
Right.
Holy crap, we just gave up a 50-yard throw. Oh,
you get up to that line of scrimmage,
yeah.
And you don't call a toss sweep. Okay, I love ETN, but guess what? Very few players can beat a defense to the corner. Very few. Now, when he cut it up, he could have went outside, but he's still got to beat that tackle. You don't know if that guy makes a tackle at all. Now, hindsight's 20/20, right? If you look at the formation that the Texans were in, they had one guy that was keeping an eye on Trevor. The rest of the defense was almost, they had linemen in front of the tight end, tackle, whatever. Then they had, I think it was number 30. He was hanging out right on the hip, right on the outside. Everybody else was over to the right. My thing is this. Why not put it in the best player on your offense's hands? And that's Trevor Lawrence.
Who's 6'6".
Okay, maybe you don't do the sneak, which is fine, but Grammage, get a little creative, man. They're thinking run. Everyone's thinking run. Come out the back door, have a crossing route, give him a chance. You're either going to throw it or you're going to pass it. Let's make him think it's a run and come out the back end. I mean, something like that. So I'm okay with the play. And listen, it's easy for us to sit here on a Tuesday as opposed to be in the thick of it. This is going to work. They're reeling. They're not going to make a play. I just don't like the outside play. Like, either go right up in there, right off tackle, use your long quarterback, or get Trev out in the open and give him a chance to run or throw. That's what I think we should do in that situation. Nonetheless, great stop by them. It was a great play by them. And, that ended the half. We get the ball back. And, I think, that's when the pick happened. That was Ingram being held.
I will never understand why they refuse to allow Trevor to run quarterback sneaks and do the reach over the line more often. Yeah. Like, listen, I understand in certain situations, like if you're in the middle of the field, not toward the goal line, you can't do the reach. Yep. I get that. If there is literally ever a time where the circumstances of the game allow you to run that play, it is that play. If you fumble, who cares? You have a 6'6" quarterback. Yeah. Every time he does it, it works.
Well, here's another thing. Instead of just putting the ball over, dive.
That's what he did in the Chargers game.
Dive.
Remember the Chargers 2-point conversion play?
I was a goal line linebacker. You got to time it perfectly to jump over the defensive line to hit a QB sneak to stop him from scoring. From, by the way, half-yard line. Not one. It was on the half. So, anyway.
Why do they not want to do it? I need someone. I would love.
But think about this. Put it in your best player's hands. I love ETN, but he's not the best player on the offense. Trevor Lawrence is.
Particularly on that day.
Especially and in that situation.
They were moving the ball that day from throwing the football. They struggled to run the football from start to finish in that game. They won that game by throwing it. Yeah.
How about this? Yards per attempt for Trev. 9.6.
Yeah, that's good. That's getting it done.
Only at 60.5% completion, but you take Ridley catch. That just makes that catch. We're talking different, not me, but everybody else out there.
I wanted to go back to something really quick that you talked about earlier on the Ridley deep crosser. Mm-hmm. If you go back and watch his Falcons highlights, those types of plays are what he does best.
Oh, yeah.
When Ridley is at his best as a receiver is when you really allow him to start utilizing the field horizontally, losing DBs.
He's so fast. Yep.
And he's such a good route runner. He has such a good feel for the depth of where a DB is and where to break something off. Do I break it off sharp? Do I round it off? Do I get behind? He's so good at that type of stuff. Stephon Diggs is probably the best in the game at it, but Ridley is close.
Yep. I think the slant sets that up, though.
I agree.
I do.
One reason, in my opinion, that for a lot of games this season, it's been hard to really unlock Ridley to his full potential is because Trevor has simply not had enough time in the pocket for those plays to develop. He had time most of the day yesterday to throw the ball. Play calling wise, they could tell he had more time to throw it. Now you give Ridley a deep crosser, all of a sudden I got myself a 40, 50-yard game, whatever it was. If the offensive line gives Trevor more of the same from Sunday in terms of a little bit more time to drop back, let the field open up, let Ridley get across the field, let other guys develop, man, this offense is going to be terrifying down the stretch.
No, and listen, I think one thing Trevor's gotten really good at is his ball placement on the deep throw has been pretty outstanding.
Yeah,
overall, the one today was inside, but overall, he did throw some dimes. But he's got to clean it up. He knows it. He knows when he's inside. You can't throw it inside, and I'm glad they didn't pick it up. Other news and notes, if Monteric Brown, when they blitz Cisco from your side, you can't give up inside. You just can't. That's like total no-no. And look, Collins he's a good. Tank Dell's a beast. That guy's fast.
Yeah, I'm
impressed with their weapons. They got some weapons now.
Can I say something really quickly on that? I'm sick of people acting like CJ Stroud's doing this with high school wide receivers. CJ Stroud is having a great season, but I have gotten the feeling that there's this narrative that he's out here cooking with nobodies, and that's not true.
Right.
Nico Collins is really good, and Tank Dell is really good, man.
Really, really good.
Watch the Texans every week. Tank Dell is giving every single defense they play problems.
When did they draft him? What round?
He's a rookie. Well, we're in the second, I believe. Second or third. Houston, I believe.
Man, he's nice.
So
he's real nice.
I'm pretty sure he didn't go anywhere.
And Mechie's going to be a player.
Dude, I love the John Mechie coming out of high school.
Listen, one thing, this is going to be a nice rivalry. I like it. You got Trev, you got C.J. Stroud's a good baller. Listen, he's got a good arm, man. Throws it right from his ear. Very accurate.
He's like
things to say about that kid.
He's
on the sacks. I saw some people online. He can't take those sacks. I don't think he had much of a chance. I mean, he got crushed.
He's very CJ is very Trevor-ish in the pocket in terms of his pocket presence is like otherworldly.
Yep.
He's so comfortable. Like stuff can be going crazy around him, and he is down the field.
Yeah.
So
the only thing I will say is, the TD celebration. Sucker punches are for wimps. You throw a sucker punch, you're a wimp. You're not a tough guy.
It's from a show.
Huh?
It's from a show.
Is it?
Yeah.
What show's it from?
I forgot the name, but
a
lot of people.
I thought it was like knockout something. We knocked him out or something. I don't know. Fight him one-on-one, man-to-man. No sucker punches allowed on this show, that's for sure. Let's see. Yeah. So the PI on Kirk, again, I would have gotten rid of that one. I didn't think he was going to catch it. Then the fit to Farrell. Oh, the catch and throw to Calvin in the 2-point. Just perfect. 21-14, 4:30 to go. Nice sack by Allen. Great blitz by Herndon.
Something about Ridley.
Ridley had another. Yeah, that was that one where Trevor rolled out. And
yeah.
I swear it went right. Like me and Dempsey were talking before earlier, and he's like, went right through his body. I'm like, I don't know how he didn't catch that ball. Stingley, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But what a great grab by Cal for hauling that one in, man. That was a rocket ship coming at you from like 10 yards. It's not that much longer than this room. Unbelievable.
I would never compare him to the best wide receiver to ever play for this franchise who was on our show, Jimmy Smith. I would never say Ridley is Jimmy. Jimmy Smith is untouchable in this franchise, but it's just kind of similar vibes.
Yep.
When a DB is on Ridley, it's like, please press him. Please.
No, I know.
Please.
Yeah. And one-on-one.
Yeah.
And Trev's got it. I think he sees it, but we see it on TV, right? You see the one-on-one, like, who is he going to go to Ridley? I did. Let me correct myself. So the play to Zay, 3:15 to go, and you go deep to Zay on 3rd and 7. Now they had already scored, so it was 24-21, right? But man, you get that first down, you're really in control. Look, I'm glad they won, of course. We're 8-3. We're first in the AFC South. It was a big road win. You had to win that game. You couldn't let them sweep it and all that stuff. But, man, you got to put teams away. You left points out there. And I'm not talking at halftime. You left other points out there that you could have had 7. Hey, Cuz, you did a great job. 3 out of 4. The 55-yarder you missed. Hey, man, you can't make them all. But the Cuz, who's not the Cuz, he did a great job, and thank goodness we have him. He nailed that 53-yarder in the fourth quarter. I will tell you, the refs, how you missed Walker Little's false start, that I'd be pissed about if I'm a Houston Texas fan. I don't know how much it would, outcome the game. And then there was a penalty on a lineman on Farrell. That was really weird, where he was the end guy, but he was in a wing position. So either somebody was supposed to be on the other side or he was supposed to be up. Nonetheless, you got to clean that up. And look, overall, great job. I'd like to see us put some teams away in the future, Grammage. You know what I mean?
That's the next step for this team, I think.
I agree.
Because
you could have right there. You could have been 31-10 or whatever, 31-14, pretty easily.
This team, for the most part, this season, obviously with the exception of a couple of games, and some of these games are the ones they've lost. For the most part, this team's been really good about starting fast and getting up.
Yep.
Man, if you can just turn those 10-point leads, those 14-point leads into 20-point leads, all of a sudden you're going to have teams quit on you in the second half.
Yeah, and then you can pin your ears back and go get them on defense. I'm
100%
telling you, I can't say enough about Josh Allen's game. I can't say enough about Trayvon Walker moving up, man. He's getting better and better. And Josh is on a mission, man. I absolutely. Someone reminded me on Twitter, I'm sorry I don't have your name in front of me, but they made a quote like, there's going to be 20 sacks between the two of them. I'm like, nah, you're crazy. Like, before the year. They may get there. You'll see what happens. I hope they do, man. I'd love to be proven wrong on that one.
Can I just get, like, in terms of putting teams away, am I asking too much if I want down the stretch? They got what? Do they have 7 more games or 6 more games?
What are we at?
They're 8-3 right now.
So 6 more.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe 2 of the 6. You do not have a hard schedule down the stretch besides the Ravens. The Ravens are the only really good team left on the schedule.
Now, the Browns may give you a problem on the road.
They could
with their defense.
But can I get just maybe 1 or 2 games where, C.J. Beathard's in the fourth quarter because the game's so out of hand type thing?
Well, maybe the last game of the year you've clinched.
Can I get a 40-10 type thing? Can I just beat up on someone? It feels good to beat up on someone every once in a while.
I know. Well, then you feel good going into the playoffs too if you're in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. So. Can I have one game where they just the Titans game was kind of that way.
Yeah.
They pretty much destroyed the Titans from start to finish. Can I get one more?
Yeah.
Am I asking too much?
They destroyed Indy pretty good too the first time, I think.
They did, but that was a classic game of the ending of the game was weird. They couldn't quite slam the door, No
doubt. All right, let's go through the stats brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. Also want to announce on Thursday, Tommy Mac's Happy Hour at the Graffiti American Burger Bar in Jacksonville Beach. We're going to have Big John Henderson and little man James Stewart on the show. Looking forward to that. Come on out, 6 to 7:30. Want to thank Salt Air Inn and Suites in Atlantic Beach. Hey, my brother just stayed there for 4 days. Absolutely loved it. I had another BC guy come in town, hooked him up with my man Kurt over at Salt Air Inn and Suites, 3 blocks from the beach. I mean, it's right there, right near the corner. Just a great, great location to spend the night, spend the weekend, or spend a week here in Jack's Beach or our beaches, of course. All right, so our yards per carry wasn't good. Our running game was not good enough. That's got to get better. We were at 2.8, 2.7, right around there. The throwing around was good. A little more accuracy would be better, but we'll take it, the 9.6 yards per attempt. Let's see. We'll also take the 0 sacks on our QB and only 2 QB hits. So hats off to the offensive line. Of course, we had the pick. Shouldn't have been a pick, but it is what it is. Nobody did anything on 4th down. We shut down their run. I mean, without Stroud, they don't have the rushing that they had. Stroud got some good yards on them, but nonetheless, 5.1, but take his out and you're back down to that 3.0. Obviously, they do count them all. That's unfortunate. Stroud's yards per attempt, 8.4. Pretty good at 72.2% completion. That's really good. So good for him. Good enough for us to not have that help them win on Sunday. So again, great win, and we'll look forward to Cincinnati coming to town. I got to go through my picks. Grammage. Oh, I thought I was going so good in the picks. Son of a biscuit eater, let me tell you. Thanks, Minnesota. Gosh, Minnesota looked awful last night, but Chicago came to play. They got it done. Good for them. The Bears, though, I mean, do you really want them winning? You know what I mean? You want the first pick? I'd want the first pick. It's going to be interesting. Look, I mean, and it's not totally a knock on Justin Fields, but when you have a new GM who, let's be honest, their career is based on what? Winning. How do you make an educated guess on winning more times than not? By having a franchise QB, right? I mean, you need more than that. And I think Justin, look, I don't know. We gotta give it more time, but I could see Ryan Poles, the new GM, saying, look, I love the kid, but I didn't pick him. And if I'm going to go down, I want to go down with my guy. If the ship's going to burn, I wanted to go with the guy that I picked, that I believe could lead this franchise to championships. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting with the Bears in the offseason.
And if you have the number, by the way, they're almost for sure going to have the number 1 pick because they stink and the Panthers also stink.
Carolina firing Frank Reich.
I know.
And then the interim guy fired McCown and Deuce Staley. Did you see that?
Yep. Dude, their owner gives you about half a season, and he will can you if you're struggling. But
I would have taken Stroud. I mean, we had Stroud over Bryce the whole time.
You did. I was a Bryce guy.
Yeah, I had Stroud.
Which doesn't look great right now. I think Stroud is going to continue to be really, really good. Bryce, they just got to put a better situation around him. That poor guy doesn't have.
It's not fair. I agree.
But man, in regards to the Bears, man, Caleb Williams is right there.
Yeah,
ready to be drafted.
Yeah,
I mean,
except, and I don't want to get into it. Don't get your panties in a wad out there, but jumping into the stands, balling to mom, I got to learn more about that. That throws me off. I'm an emotional guy. I've cried after losses. I've cried after wins. I didn't jump into the stands bawling to my mom. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it's not. I know everyone out there's like, yeah, you're gonna give me so much grief. But look, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, that's a little much. It's a little much. I need to know that he's okay emotionally. You know. It's okay to cry. I prefer crying in private locations, unless you're at a funeral or something like that or whatever. You're comfortable, with your surroundings. After a game, I
don't disagree, but he's really damn good.
He is, but they're not very good.
No, their defense is tissue paper.
And I'm not. It's funny. I typically don't come through who I like at QB till after the combine, like fully, because I do like watching that. I think it's because the tape will show one thing, and then you gotta. And for me, it's always the arm. You got a good arm, you like a really good arm, like a rocket. You got my attention. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I just need to learn more about that because that would be, hey, it's an emotional game. It's a tough game. You're going to get the crap kicked out of you typically in your rookie year, if not your first 3 years as a QB in this league. So I wish nothing but good things for the kid. So don't come at me, if you will, or whatever that signal is.
One of our co-hosts and one of the other podcasts in this room that we do, Gator Bites, and is on this station a lot, Denny Thompson.
Yeah.
Quarterback developer.
Yeah.
He says that in the NFL, quarterbacks aren't even entering their prime until like year 7.
Yeah.
He says like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
He's like, it's that hard of a position. There's that much to learn. There's that much experience you need. Yeah.
It's not just to learn it, but to memorize it so much. You may not see it in one game. You see it 5 weeks later, and you got to be, I've seen that. That just takes repetition and time and real time and all that stuff.
The last probably 5 years, maybe even more of Brady's career,
yep,
he was physically not the same guy anymore, but he had literally like mastered football.
Yeah, he knew where to go.
He just knew.
Snap. Yeah.
There was. I think he said this in a podcast or something. I feel like I remember him saying. He was like, look, like there's nothing I haven't seen.
Yeah,
there's not a coverage I haven't seen. It took him 20 years.
Right.
But he got there, and then he was like, look, if my line is protecting me,
yep,
and I'm not getting hurt, and I can still throw it,
right.
I mean, there's no reason I can't be successful. I've seen everything.
Right. And I know where the ball's going before the snap. That's huge, without question. All right, so I went, let's see, I had 5 losses. Gosh, I was doing so good. I did take a chance. I thought Tampa was going to beat Indy. Hats off to Gardner. Did you hear Terry Bradshaw? Gardner Minshew sneezing. That was hilarious, I thought. Lost that one. Arizona Rams crushed Arizona. Just cry. I went for the Rams a few times, and they didn't do it for me, so I turned my back on them. Had Minnesota. Hats off to Chicago. Had Buffalo. I just thought and they could have won that game. Probably should have won that game, but nonetheless, Dempsey went 14-2, so it really doesn't matter what I did. But I do know this. I got the W on our Jacksonville Jaguars, beating the Houston Texans. Didn't have the score, but that's all right. But we get the W. And we're 8-3, and we're first place in the AFC South. We're second seed in the AFC behind Baltimore. We still have to play them. That's going to be the game. I think Cincinnati, we'll talk about Cincinnati later in the week. They come to town Monday Night Football. It's funny, my daughter's like, Dad, you want to go? And I'm like, I'd rather go to the Sunday night game against Baltimore than the Monday night game against Cincy. If Burrow was there, might go just because it's going to be a game with him. Still going to be a game. They still got a decent defense. Mixon's a decent running back. They got wide receivers. Who's their QB? Oh, it's that three-name guy. What's his name? Dorian something?
That's for the Browns.
That's the Browns guy?
Jake Browning is the backup.
Jake Browning. Yeah.
From Washington.
Yeah.
He was the quarterback of the Washington team that went to the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And got annihilated by Alabama.
Oh, that's right.
They had a great season, though. He was like a Heisman contender.
I remember him. Hang on.
He was a really good college player.
He was. I remember that name now, and I remember him playing for the Huskies. Let me see. I think I had that game, buddy. Where the hell did you go, my man? Where'd you go? Yeah, I had it. Just believe me. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I did have that game. Nice. Well, I had Pitt beating Cincy. Right? And
Steelers won.
Yep, Steelers won. Good for me. Good for you. It's good all around. All right, the end of November. Fast approaching this week, December. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving weekend. I know I did. Family. Had the whole band together. Had the Lionesses in town. Come see us Thursday night at the Graffiti American Burger Bar in Jax Beach. Big John Henderson, James Stewart, Aaron Beasley, and myself will bring you the show. Great food there. Great place to watch games. Salt Air will be there. Outback Marine Construction will be there. If you're looking to build or fix, repair, boathouse, your dock, what have you, make sure you check out Outback Marine. Thanks to all the sponsors. Thanks to all of you listening out there. Really appreciate it. Grammage, thank you, brother. We'll see you Friday, my man. Until next time, y'all stay safe and be cool out there. We'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mack. Peace.